Corey and I'm from Layers of Grace Designs. We are furniture refinishers, and today we're going to show you how to take your light toned woods and make them darker. I'd like to first ask you if you would like and subscribe to our channel so you can keep feeding us, so we can keep feeding you with content. Some things that we're going to tell you today is we're going to first tell you what you need to get the job done, then we're going to show you how to do it, and then of course, if you would, you can always leave your questions in the comments and we'll answer them at a later date. Well, let's go ahead and jump into our supplies. So obviously if you're wanting to take a lighter toned wood like this, and you're wanting to take it darker, it's actually a very easy solution to do this. So the best way is to not sand everything back down, because we know that the sanding back down the bare wood is going to be a lot of labor, a lot of time, and honestly, none of us really like doing that a whole lot. We like the beauty of the wood and the staining part and the finishing part, not necessarily always the sanding part. So in order to get this job done, what you're going to want is, you're going to want some sandpaper. Today we have 120 and 180 grit sandpaper. Of course, you're going to want to have your gel stains. I have 3 different brands here that I'm going to use with different colors. You're going to want a damp cloth, old t-shirt, and of course you're also going to want a clean cloth, or you can also use a foam brush. We'll use those for the application of our gel stains. And of course the last thing that you're going to want is some gloves to protect your hands from color, and of course your favorite varnish. I got these 2 that I'll talk about, and there's also others that you can do as well. Alright, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in and we're going to show you guys how to get this job done. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this tone of wood that we have right in here, which is technically a mid-tone, and we're going to take it something closer into this. This is just used as an example of a dark tone. This is kind of an espresso walnut finish. The main rule of thumb here is if you have a tone of your wood and you want to go darker, this method is going to work for you. If you're wanting to take your wood tone and you want to go lighter or more natural, that is going to require a complete sand off, going back down into the bare wood and then going from, a brand new application. This video is not for that. This is really for the person who is wanting to go into a darker region of wood tones. First thing that we want to do here is we want to do a little bit of sanding. And the key here to sanding is we want to sand off the varnish, or that clear coat that's on your piece. As we can see on this side, we have our varnish is still on our wood tone here. And then on this area, I've already off video, have done some 120 grit sandpaper. Your 120 grit sandpaper, you want to use it very lightly. Kind of going with the wood grain is the most important. I also use these kind of renewable Diablo ones as well. This is a 120 grit comparable. So let's go ahead and sand back with the 120. And then we're going to smooth up with our 180. And then of course we're going to wipe all the dust off and go into our staining method. All right. So going with the grains of the wood, we want to go from side to side. And I always say, once you kind of get it cloudy, you've got a good amount of the varnish off. And you honestly don't have to get all varnish off. You just want to get that shine and that slickiness down so that you have something for your gel stains to grip to. So that's pretty good right there. I'm gonna come in with my 180. You can also use a 150 if you want to. 220 also works. I like the 180. It's just a good middle range between the 220 and the 150. It's just my personal preference. There's no right or wrong to it. I know a lot of refinishers, they have their specific grits that they like. You can get the job done in multiple ways. All right, so with that, all I did was just kind of smooth off any if I had pushed down too hard. I want to make this nice and smooth so that when we stain it, it looks very beautiful. Okay. Now I'm going to take this damp rag right here. I'm going to wipe it right off. I always say use old t-shirts, old cloths you got laying around. Use what you got. There's no need to go to the hardware store and spend $100 and all brand new stuff. If you're like me, my wife would probably hit me over the head a couple of times if she knew I was buying brand new. So just use what you got. Nothing wrong with that. All right, take my hand across, just make sure. Don't really feel a whole lot of dust on here. It's not a big deal if there is some dust. Don't stress out about it. This is all about having fun. So now let's go ahead and go into our staining process. We'll go ahead and pause and come right back in with my jars that I have open, and I'll tell you which brands and which colors I'm using. So now we're pretty much set up to go into our staining. Of course, we wiped all of our dust off as best as possible, and we're going to go from this light to this dark. There's really two great ways to apply this. Neither one is better than the other. It's just kind of the technique that you want to do. You do have the cloth, of which you can grab the gel stain and then you can put it on. You can put it on as thick or as light as you want. And then of course with the foam brush, you can put it on super thick. So I typically say the benefits of either one is if you know that you want to go extremely dark, like something that we see right over here, you might want to go the foam brush method, and you want to put a thick amount of your gel stain on, and you want to let it sit on your piece for a very short period of time, you know, no more than 5 minutes. Play with an area and you can kind of feel, you know, what you like. Typically you can get away with only one coat doing this method. My preference personally, and this is definitely a good reason, you can always go this route. I typically like to use a cloth. This is kind of just a terry clean cloth. An old rag, old t-shirt will work just as well. This has this kind of like, it kind of helps soaking. If you've ever seen the applicator pads that you can buy that kind of have a sponge, this is kind of the cloth that goes around those applicator pads. So I kind of really like using these. I use these all the time whenever I'm making repairs on people's furniture or whenever we're gel staining people's either kitchen tables, buffets, you know, whatever we happen to have in the shop. This piece here is a customer's table that she wants this to go darker, and so we're gonna do that here on this piece. I'm actually gonna do 3 different colors because she's gonna choose one. So after I get done with this, I'm giving her the ability to know which color she wants to choose on this piece. Another main reason why I like to use this is because I like the ability to kind of have a little bit of creativity and art available. So I can thin this a little bit more, I can thicken it, I can kind of give it some wood graining tone. I just have a lot more versatility using this, whereas a brush, you know, you're kind of limited, you know, by holding it on the handle. Whereas this, I'm kind of getting my hands into it, which is important because we want to make sure we wear these gloves because getting stains off your hands is very difficult. So let's go ahead and jump in. The first stain I'm going to use is going to be a colonial black color. This one's made by Dixie Belle Chalk Mineral Group. I use any brand of stain. My key is about color and not about necessarily the quality of the product. I will say Dixie Belle does make a great gel stain. I do like it. It's very versatile. It's a very high-end product. But of course, color is more important than anything. So this is the black we're gonna put on here. I'm gonna dab a thick amount in this region, and then we're just going to apply it right across. I'm going with the grain. You can work in circles to really get it in there, but the whole key to gel stains is that they sit on top. I am actually wiping mine on and then wiping it off at the same time, which means I'm getting a thin layer. All right, we're gonna leave it right there. So that's our black. Next color I'm gonna use is going to be Natural Walnut from Old Masters, another high quality one. This is going to be our lightest color that we're gonna be looking at. I do wanna make sure I fold my rag and we don't interact that black with this color unless you're going for that. We could definitely make this a dark walnut if we add this black and this natural together. And again, you can see the brown tones in this one. We're gonna come right through. And this one definitely kind of brings it back to the color it was. It doesn't make it much darker. It's the same, kind of the same shade, but it's in a different wood tone. This one's got a little bit more of a yellow and green stalk in it. Of course, I'm gonna come through and I'm gonna wipe off my excess here. And when you're doing this process, if you feel like you're not getting the color that you're like, no, it's just, well, it's not dark enough, you can let the gel stain sit on there for longer. That'll work. The other thing that you can do as well is you can just add multiple coats after it dries. Most gel stains typically dry within a 4 to 6 hour period, depending on humidity, climate, so forth. All right, and you notice I left my black on a little bit longer because it's darker, so I wanted to let it sit. And then our final color that we're going to use is going to be the Minwax brand. This is Hickory. And of the three, the Minwax is definitely the jelliest of the gel stains. Old Masters is a little bit more of a liquid tone. If you added some mineral spirits, you could essentially use it like a wiping stain. And we can see on this color, we got a lot more rich red. This is definitely putting off a nice mahogany tone. And notice I'm doing long swipes with the wood grain. That way we get that smooth texture right in there. All right. So that's the three colors that we applied. As you can see, brand, you know, they all went on their own ways there, but the color is the most important thing. And you know, if you're someone who's getting into this field and you're wanting to learn how to do furniture refinishing, and maybe you're wanting to, you know, do people's pieces for them, yeah, by far, color is most important to your customer, not necessarily what brand you're using. Okay. And of course, our final thing that we'll discuss will be our varnishes. And so we'll go ahead and go back to our full frame video now, just a little bit, and I'll talk about varnishes and how to finish this up. All right, so today you should have learned how to take your wood and darken it using gel stains. It's a very simple, easy, and honestly the most important aspect is it's quick. So whether you're hustling furniture on the weekends, or you're getting into doing this professionally, or if you just got a project that's been sitting in your house and you want to do something with it, this is very doable for anyone. It's a DIY master group here. But one thing I do want to make sure that you understand is stains are colors, they're not protectants. And so after your piece is dry and you have your desired color, you do want to make sure you put a varnish on these. There's a couple of ways you can go with this. You can buy these lacquer spray cans. If you're doing lacquer, I do recommend spraying it. This dries extremely fast, so brushing on lacquer is very difficult. I don't even try that, but you do want to make sure that you're in a well-ventilated area, or you can be in a spray tent like that we're in with ventilation fans, and you can use this. Just make sure that you wear all your respirators and eye protection, because we want to make sure that we're able to do this furniture the right way and also the safe way. Another great product, if you've never varnished anything and you're worried about getting streaks or brush strokes or just having some kind of cloudy finish, honestly, one of the best secrets that I can tell you from a furniture refinisher standpoint is professionals typically use wipe-on poly. You can get this at the store. Brand isn't really that big a deal. I actually have a video that shows you how to do this on our YouTube, so you can definitely go watch that. I'll also try to link it to the description. But this product is awesome because you can wipe it on with a cloth, you can put it on with a foam brush. I usually like to use a foam brush with it. I'll pour it on my piece and I'll spread it out. The most important thing is when you're putting on your varnishes, we're not brushing it on, we're laying it on. And you want to let it do its own thing, let it self-level, let it pop the bubbles out on its own. And of course, just have a good time doing it. These are both oil-based. The gel stains that we use are an oil-based gel stain. I do know that you can get some water-based stains, and they can do the same effect. They work as well. They're pretty good products. But if you wanted to do something that was a water-based varnish, you're going to be looking for a polyacrylic product. It would be a good example. And with that, you can actually put that water-based product over the oil-based stains. You just want to give it probably 2 or 3 days and make sure it's extremely dry and it has a pre-cure period into it, so that that water-based clear coat doesn't interact with those oil-based, because your oil-based products will seep right through your water-based. The oil-based varnishes, they kind of keep the separation layer and they kind of lay on each other and they come out real smooth. But if you're wanting to do more of a water-based, or if you already have a water-based clear coat, by all means, you can do that. Well, I'd like to thank you today for watching this video. Of course, if you watched it all the way through, leave us comments, ask us questions. We're always about teaching and helping people. And of course, make sure you also like and subscribe, because I can assure you there are people that are looking for this content and looking for these things. We want to make sure that they get that information and have fun refinishing furniture like we do.